Hey, everybody. You may notice me sipping the Fireball whiskey tonight. That's because I seem to have caught what Steve had, unfortunately, as much as I tried not to. Um, the good news is I'm not running a fever. The bad news is my voice may go at any moment, or I may have a coughing fit or a sneezing fit or something. But I see TJ backstage, so I'm sure he will cover for me if I die or have a coughing fit or something like that. Uh, hey, Blissful, you say I got boy germs? I got husband germs, I guess. Hey, Super Batman nerd. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add TJ. Hey, TJ.
Hey, how's it going besides being sick all the time?
Uh, Fine.
You should have sequestered yourself in another room and made sure Steve didn't come near you for like a.
Evidently so. So I don't know. I tried to, I didn't kiss him on the lips or anything like that. And I was like, I tried to keep my distance, but when you live in the same household, it's kind of,
Same bathroom, the same bedroom. You
yeah.
should have somebody should have slept on the couch.
Well, I did sleep on the couch some, but I got to go to my bed some point in times because let me tell you, sleeping on the couch is no fun. It's not good for your back or anything. It's just
No,
when you get to be an old woman like I am, it's even worse. So,
I don't think
um,
I'll ever be an old woman. I don't think. I'm pretty sure.
well, when other women get to be older
No, I know what
women,
you mean.
in TJ's case, and he's not right now, he'll be an older man whenever he gets to that point, which I don't think he's there yet.
I don't know. People are making me older. That's for sure.
Oh, well, that happens to me too. Yeah, unfortunately.
Stressful.
Um, so we are finally going to. That's another reason I didn't want to put this off because I put it off last week and I told TJ we'd do it the next week, and I was like, well, shit, now I've got this illness, but hey, I'm going to be a trooper and we're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to talk about the first 7 episodes of the fourth season of Tales from the Crypt.
What I can remember.
Yeah, because I'm sure TJ didn't go back and rewatch them.
I tried, but like I had 20 minutes and I couldn't go through 7 episodes in 20 minutes.
No, I don't think that will work very well. And I guess we will continue as long as TJ wants to the comparison between the episodes and the actual comics. Um, so we'll go ahead and get started with the first episode, which was a Tom Hanks directed episode and actually had Tom Hanks in it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's None But the Lonely Heart, which, again, this is continuing the streak of, you know, I haven't hated any of these episodes. I thought the one that had the soap opera element in it was kind of maybe a little weaker, but I still didn't hate it. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and let TJ start talking about None But the Lonely Heart.
Yeah. So Treat Williams is a rest in peace. Is a gigolo. He his thing is older women who are close to the that he could either close to the grave or he can push into the grave,
Yeah.
almost literally. Um, um, it starts off with him with one woman. He kills her. Goes on to another woman. That's basically the mo. Most of it's with the second his second yeah he marries that's what I forgot he doesn't just he marries them
Mm-hmm.
and inherits their money after he kills them. I don't know how he keeps getting away with it, but sure, whatever. uh,
Yeah, that seems to be a little bit of a stretch how he can keep doing it.
And it's Treat Williams, I guess, ladies' man type of dude. I think Tom Hanks plays like a lawyer. He's a lawyer for one of the old, right? Isn't he a lawyer?
No, he's a video dating guy. He
Oh,
like
that's right. Yeah, there's a point where the Treat Williams decides to use video dating because this is '92 or
yeah.
whatever, where that was a big thing. Um, where you would remember tapes. Well, this crowd knows what tapes are. I mean, come on.
I would hope so.
Yeah, you record a videotape, and you usually go to a. Now you can just do it on your phone, but you used to have to go. You have to go to a place.
Yep.
Do a video, and they would edit it and send it out.
I think my Uncle Mike might have done that at one time back in the day.
Yeah, so then he starts getting these weird, like, notes. Somebody, it's like, I know what you did type of situation. Let me get a cameo, and he was so bad. Sugar Ray Leonard.
Oh yeah.
There's a groundskeeper for the cemetery, and he's trying to act, but I think it's just like.
But not very successfully.
I don't know. I don't remember him actually being in that many movies. Maybe this was just him trying to, or he knew somebody on the staff, or Zemeckis is like, "Hey, Sugar Ray, you want to come and have a part?" So
was he in? Like 2, maybe 3 scenes at best.
Yeah, he's sort of just sprinkled out into the episode. So he meets up with Treat Williams at the cemetery at the mausoleum. And he's like, "What are you trying to blackmail me for?" And the guy's like, "No, they told me that they wanted me to bring you here." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And then the twist is, one by one, his ex-dead wives come out to torment him and taunt him. The makeup's really great for the zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
There's 4 zombies. And I think it's the actresses, and it's like they were older women, and they're wearing like the first one, like her face is all like half of her face is, you can see her face, and it's like, and then another one's covered with makeup, like.
Mm-hmm. And Frances Sternhagen was the main one that they showed. She played the main one, and I love her. I mean, she's been in a bunch of stuff, but I really remember her from Misery.
She's the
playing
cop.
the sheriff's wife.
That's when you think, oh, they're not going to kill the spoiler. They're not going to kill the sheriff with the wife in. That's like they're like a cute little comedy couple, and they kill him off.
And I always thought Frances Sternhagen was always a bit spicy. Mm-hmm. Instead of playing the typical old lady, she was always spicy in her roles.
She's in The Mist and Raising Cain.
Yeah.
I mean, she ton of stuff. She's got to be passed away. Oh yeah, no, she passed away 2023, sometime this year.
Wow. Yeah.
What was she? Born in 1930. Wow. 92 with my gazintas.
She had good genes, I guess.
I guess so. I mean, I don't know what kind of pants she wore, but anyway. Yeah, and they attack him and just sort of smother him. It's kind of vague what happens. I'm sure he's dead, but I read one review and they said they ate him like I don't think it was a zombie thing. I think they sort of just grabbed him and
I think so too.
They still loved him even though they were dead, which is a nice little twist. The zombies don't want to hurt him; they just want to love him, but they love him to death.
They literally loved him to death. Yeah. You know what else I thought was funny? Based on one of the other episodes about a vampire and the character was Mr. Longtooth. The screenplay was done by Donald Longtooth for this episode.
Yeah, I don't know if Yeah, and whenever they got that, that was the name. That's why they named the Malcolm McDowell after that.
Hmm.
Probably. That seems what people usually would do. I mean, yeah, I think this is maybe one of out of the seven. I think I like kind of like this one. It's like maybe not the best one, but I think top. Um,
Hmm.
the
There's
cemeteries.
one that I really, really, I mean, there's several that I like, but there's one that we're going to get to towards the end that I really, really like. But, but this episode, I liked. I liked Tom Hanks's quirky little character in there, and
Mm,
I liked his demise. Even his demise was pretty cool because when Treat Williams' character is trying to figure out who's sending him the notes, first he thinks it's his partner, and he kills him.
yeah,
Uh, Causes him to go down into the shredding machine. Um, and then he thinks it's Tom Hanks's character, and he throws Tom Hanks basically through the television, and you have that great scene of him kicking his legs and goes, so that's pretty cool. Um, but but overall, I mean, I really, really liked the episode, and like TJ said, the makeup effects on the women, the dead wives, the four dead wives that they show, and he must have been doing this for a while because
yeah.
the the third and fourth one that they show were really they were pretty much skeletons by
Yeah, this
that
is a very
point.
EC looking.
Yeah.
That's definitely the other ones were more Dawn of the Dead zombie type of Savini things, but yeah, that was definitely
Mhm.
something you see in the comics. Because the comics, there were a lot of the zombies were like very skeletal and stuff like that, but a lot of them were very abstract. It was
Mhm.
just like scribbles of looking of flesh and stuff like that because they couldn't get too realistic because it's a comic book, but
Right.
yeah.
So, TJ, did you want to do a comparison between the episode and the comic?
Yeah, there's little things here and there, like he looks for the women in personal ads,
Mhm.
because they didn't have
They didn't have video dating then.
yeah, they didn't have that kind of stuff, and like he has a dog, and um, and he like he sends telegrams out, and then he meets the women. Um, it's I can't remember. Was it? I mean, the story itself is a little bit. Um, I'm trying to. I can't remember now. Oh, he receives a letter, um, and he goes to see one of the women, and she turns out to be already a zombie. Uh,
Uh,
so it's the basic idea is kind of the same, but they the setup is different, and um, yeah, I mean it's a storytelling is a lot different, but it's basically
right.
the same thing more or less. But obviously updated.
I
Um,
would like to see what they could do with it, like if somebody remade this episode now and like incorporated. I mean, they could incorporate plenty of fish or one of the other like dating sites that are match.com. Is match.com even still around?
yeah,
Um,
maybe I don't know.
but it was whenever I was looking for somebody, but you know, that didn't work out for me. I'm sure it works out for some people, but didn't quite work out for me. So I don't think video dating or anything like that would have, if I had been, of the age to do that, I don't think that would have worked for me either.
Yeah.
It ended up somebody that, I met through mutual friends, and that was Steve. That was the thing that got the ball rolling, when I started hanging out at horror conventions and hanging out with like-minded people. I know people probably find that hard to believe, but that's how I got my man. It might not be how all women get their men, but pick them up at different places. But
Hard to meet people. Got to do it somehow.
you got to get out there. That's the point. Um, so, TJ, is there anything else you want to bring up about the episode before we move on?
Nah, it's very, like I said, it's good makeup. Zombies are very gushy. It's very, like I said, Savini, but also a little Fulci because they're definitely a mess. Is what the they're like a like Fulci stuff is just they kind of just slap stuff on people's faces. This one's more like that. It's got the essence of it, but it's more like someone actually spent time sculpting and putting the makeup.
Exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, so.
So we'll move on to the episode that TJ was talking about in one of the other streams that we did, where they had similar titles. We had uh, "Ease'll Kill Ya," and now we've got "This'll Kill Ya."
Yeah.
And it almost is like they were running short on titles or couldn't come up with creative titles. But I did, in any event, I like this episode. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it has Dylan McDermott in it, but it also has, is it Sonia Braga? Is that her
I
name,
think so. I
TJ?
think that's how you pronounce it.
And I kept looking at her and I was like, I know her. And then, I hate to bring up the Cosby Show because I know how people feel about Bill Cosby, but despite Bill Cosby, Sonia Braga was the one that played Mrs. Westlake, Theo's teacher that they called her the Dragon Lady and stuff like that. And she ended up coming over to their house and
She
like,
was all sexy with her hair down and everything.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, Mrs. Westlake is on this episode and she shows her breast on this episode and she has sex on this episode. And I just
You
couldn't
do the
get
Cosby Show, and then you do stuff on with nudity. Lisa Bonet and
yeah, exactly.
yeah, and now
Wonder
her.
what Bill Cosby thought of that because he didn't like Lisa Bonet, doing that, and he didn't like some other things that some of the cast members did.
I think he kind of felt like I own them because I created their fame. Like who would Lisa Bonet be without? Yeah, that tells what type of person he is. But anyway,
Well, honestly, I think Lisa Bonet would have done fine, with or without him. I mean, she would
mhm,
have, because Lisa Bonet's got talent. If she didn't have talent, that would be one thing. But anyway, back to the episode.
yes.
Um, I will let TJ go ahead and start talking about This'll Kill You.
So yeah, like I said, Sonia Braga, Dylan McDermott, Cleavon Little, isn't it? From
Mm-hmm.
Blazing Saddles and
Oh, yeah, I knew that guy looked
Once Bitten.
familiar.
He's in Once Bitten. I love him. He's great in that. He plays. Is he a vampire? Yeah, I think. No, he's not a vampire, but he's like the no, servant. That's I'm not going to say. I almost said the other way.
Oh, yeah.
Of what's her face? Miss Vampire face. What the hell was her name? Why can't I remember her name?
Because
Yeah,
we're losing our minds.
I could tell you what she looks like. Lauren Hutton. There we go. I had to look it up.
Oh, Lauren Hutton, yeah.
That should have been a movie that made Jim Carrey a star, but it was a few years later, and he did. Now, who's in that? Megan Mullally from what? Will and Grace, and she does Bob's Burgers and does voices a lot. She's in it. Like she's like 30, but she's playing a teenager, and she's like very like if you see her, you're like, oh, it's her. But like,
Mm.
anyway, so yeah, so they're the three of them are working on. They're scientists. They're working on this, trying to. It's a not a drug, but they're trying to find a cure for a disease. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That somehow the whatever they're using absorbs, kind of chokes out the whatever the disease is. But the problem is they got to figure out how to stop it, and they haven't figured out how to stop
right.
what they're injecting them with from keeping on multiplying.
So Dylan and Sonia are like they're involved in a relationship. They're having
They got a love hate type of thing, mostly
yeah.
hate, I think.
The loves when they're having sex, and the hates every other time. And then Cleavon Little's, like I said, he's the partner of the two of them, and like he does probably does all the crap work basically. Um, so he thinks they poisoned him, and he kills. First he bashes Cleavon Little's head in.
Yeah.
It's very good makeup effects too. That's like these first two episodes, very good with the makeup effects. He bashes his head in, and basically he's got a big chunk of his head missing. And he injects the same stuff that he was injected with.
I think he does it right in his chest, doesn't he?
Yeah, he gets the big
Mm-hmm.
syringe, and he like pushes it right into his chest. Yeah. So Dylan McDermott's a diabetic, and Sonia gives him his injection at the beginning of the episode. So later on, he thinks they deliberately switch the drugs, because she makes a comment at one point. She's like, "You gotta be careful with all those with your having your insulin near our drug, because you could inject yourself and kill yourself," which that's what happens. Or what he thinks happens,
Mm-hmm.
but he finds out that they were just playing a little practical joke on him because he's sort of a douche, and they were trying to
Yeah, he's a dick to them. I mean, even to her. He just uses her to get his jollies, basically.
So yeah, and he brings. Well, it opens with him bringing the body to the police station,
Mm-hmm.
and then it ends at the police station, where she comes in and she tells him, we were just trying to teach you a lesson, and it ends with sort of him like side looking to the camera, like, "Oh shit, what did I do?"
Yeah, I'm gonna go to prison for the rest of my life now for
Yeah.
killing this guy.
But there's a nice scene like when he's like sort of contemplating, well, now I'm dying, and he's just sort of walking around like, what do I do? And that when he comes up with the brilliant idea to get his revenge.
Yeah. And I thought that this was kind of like the perfect EC Comics type of deal, because he's an asshole,
Yes.
and they decide to play this trick on him, and it's kind of similar to the what was the one called where they scared the guy's brother and he had the heart attack. Which one was that one, TJ? Yeah, that one.
Abracadabra.
Yeah. It sort of reminds me of that, because you got somebody that's sick of somebody kind of being a jerk. And so they play this trick on them in the same way that the brother, after having the heart attack and suffering and stuff, plays a trick on his brother. And it all kind of goes bad. And in the same way that this episode goes bad,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a horror version of, like, if anybody ever watched Three's Company or any of those old sitcoms like that, there would always be a misunderstanding somewhere. Somebody would think something that wasn't the correct information. They just got part of the information, and they thought something was going on that really wasn't going on. So to me, this is the horror version of the stuff that sitcoms did. even though
Door, bash your head in with a stick. Yeah, okay.
we need to do Three's Company.
Oh God, yeah. Everybody,
I mean, I love Three's Company. I watched it when it was in syndication,
the first
but
maybe like up until before Suzanne Summers leaves, then it's kind of like,
yeah, I mean, it was better with Suzanne Summers. Now, who do you like better, TJ? Do you like Mr. and Mrs. Roper or you like Mr. Furley?
I like Mr. and Mrs. Roper. They kind of got a
Mhm.
bum deal because they got a spin-off show, and if they were supposed to have like sort of a back into the show, like if things didn't work out on their show, um, they were going to come back to Three's Company, which I think was just sort of a ploy from the company, just because I think they just kind of wanted to concentrate on the three kids and kind of get rid of the Ropers. Um, and I think the show went like a year and a half, so they weren't allowed to go back to the original show because they had signed the contract.
Mhm. Blissel says a Brady Bunch style horror panel will be fun. Now, are you talking about like having
Can I be
like
Alice? I'll be in the middle.
how many were there? Was like three boys and three
Nine,
girls, and then the parents, and then Alice, right?
nine, right? Yeah,
Okay.
six and three adults. Yeah, Alice was
So
the best part of the show.
I love Dallas. I would love to do that if I could get nine of us on here at one time doing this, doing a panel without, breaking the internet or breaking StreamYard or whatever.
We should do a Thanksgiving. Well, it's too late now. It's past. It's almost Christmas. We could do a Thanksgiving comparison because CK and Uncle Bill liked it. So I mean,
Hmm.
but they haven't done anything besides their main.
And I haven't done anything, or me and Steve haven't done anything really except our Highway to Hell review
Yeah,
that we did on it. Yeah, that would be cool if we could do that, but I guess I'd have to talk to some people and see if we TJ, would you be willing to do it if I could get some others on here?
sure. I mean,
Uh,
eventually it comes out on digital in like January, but I think by then people are not going to want. I don't know if people are going to want to talk about Thanksgiving. Um,
right.
I mean, people have done their spoiler. They'll do their their short review, and then they'll do their spoiler review like later on.
Hmm.
I don't know. You actually got enough people.
Blissel says she votes for Wes to be Sandy. If we could get him to put a little pigtails.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Oh man, he needs a wig that's got the blonde pigtails and
I can
stuff.
dye my hair like brown, and I can be out.
Super Batman Nerd, you say you've been calling Uncle Bill out on Facebook for
Calling them
what?
what?
What have you been calling him out? Um, so anyway, this was another episode that I really, really liked. I mean, again, I haven't found any episodes yet, and we're in the fourth season that I hated. Um, Tales from the Crypt was you know, it's coming back to me that was a pretty strong series, evidently. And instead of having a bunch of weak episodes, most of their episodes up until, I mean, I haven't found any that have been so weak that I wouldn't consider going back and watching them again.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna turn it back over to TJ though to talk about the comparison between the episode and the comic.
Well, first, the title of the comic book is "This'll Kill You," which I don't know why they changed it from "you" to "ya." I don't know what the.
Hmm.
Maybe they thought it sounded
I
more.
thought it sounded more hit for the time period or something.
Is it hip to say "yeah" in the '90s? I don't
I
know.
don't know.
Um, this was a crime suspense story, so this wasn't in the actual horror um, comics. Um, it sort of starts the same way with the guy dragging the dead body, and he says, "This is I'm here to report a murder, my murder, not the guy that you see as." And it's the panel too. It's a nice, some blood dripping out of the guy's head. So it's a nice, nice comic panel for the 50s, or you know. Um, yeah, there's no love triangle thing going on, or there's no like female antagonist in that comic either. That's the difference. Like I know Tales from the Crypt did that a lot because they wanted the audience to be more into it, so they added the sex appeal. So they would add a love story or whatever that wasn't really there. And it's sort of in this one, it's also like they wanted to do a joke. Not the guy is not really as bad as the guy in the actual episode, but they play a trick on him. And this one, the twist is the April Fool's joke. So at the end, it's like April Fools, and he sees the calendar that says, because you have to do that. You have to show that the calendar says April 1st when you do like a reveal like
this. Yes, you do.
And
they even did that in Slaughter High. They made sure that somebody was pulling off the other day, and then it's April 1st.
And this one, in the comic, it's more like an accident, like a guy, ooh, I tripped, ooh, and I injected you with the needle. It's more like, it's not as goofy, but if they had done like exactly how it was in the comic, I think it would come off very like goofy.
Yeah.
And he's sort of like, when he realizes he's been poisoned, he's sort of just going to enjoy the last moments of his life. So he goes out walking in town and looks at all the people and walking around and smiling and being happy. And it's like, well, I'm dying. And then he finds out that, well, he thinks he finds out that he's been, that it was all a plan to kill him. And it was, but we realized that it was just like I said, it's a big April Fool's joke. So he actually thought he was dying, but he wasn't really. And it's like I said, it's more dramatic in the episode with, like I said, this is going to be a love interest and the extra. Well, this guy has to really.
And of course, there wasn't any nudity in the comic book.
No, they didn't do nudity back then. Oh, and actually, in the comic, he goes to the like I said, it starts and ends at the police station. Also in the comic, the cop goes, "Hey, what's on this guy's body?" And he finds the letter that reveals that it was the April Fool's joke. So he was gonna give him the letter and go, "Ha ha, this was a joke," but he ended up getting killed instead. So
yeah, that's what you get for trying to play a April Fool's Day joke on somebody.
Don't make an April Fool's Day joke in an EC comic. That's for sure.
No, you don't want to do that.
But yeah, I like. It was a good episode. I liked the reveal, and I liked how Cleon Little died. He was like sort of like, his face was like,
and then it just, and it wasn't over after he like almost took part of his head off, or bashed part of his head off. He had to do that one last thing.
Oh, it was Cleavon Little's last performance. He passed away in is he? Wait a minute. He didn't pass away. Is he dead? Wait a minute. I thought he died. Yeah, he did die. When did he die? I can't find. Oh, there we go. 92. So he died like.
Wow.
This episode aired.
Yeah, because this was like June of 1992 when they did this one.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Too many people dying. Anyway.
So, I guess moving on to the next episode, which was directed by Mr. William Friedkin, who also unfortunately passed away quite recently.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see the Friedkin touch on this episode. This episode is quite a bit more violent, quite a bit more sexual. Yeah. One scene in particular, the sex scene is pretty, it's pretty explicit. I'll just say that.
Sherry Rose really shows off her.
Yeah.
Shows off her Black Scorpion. No, that's a show she was on. Never mind. That's a bad show.
But we also have Heavy D on this and Greg Allman. They're both on this.
It's about a rock band, so Blissful should love this episode.
Yeah, I think because it's got stuff about, not that Blissful was a groupie. I'm not saying she was a groupie, but it has stuff about rock musicians. It has stuff about groupies. It has stuff about the inner fighting in a band when one of the guys takes a wife. And, it's just all kinds of things mixed in there. And I'm sure Blissful is familiar with a lot of that stuff that goes on. So she probably would like this episode.
Yeah.
On a Dead Man's Chest is the name of this episode. And I'm going to go ahead and let TJ start talking about this episode.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's this band, and the lead singer is sort of the one everybody is clamoring about, and of course the guitarist who started the band with him is pissed off, but he's even more pissed off because his lead singer is now he's engaged and he's going to get married to Tia Carrere, and I was like, you got to give him a pass.
Yeah, exactly.
I would leave the band too. Fuck you, bitch.
She was prettier than any of the other girls in this episode. I'll say that.
This is like Tia Carrere, like right before she did Wayne's World, I think, maybe.
Probably, yeah.
And after she did what was it? Zombie Nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
From the people who did Black Roses.
And,
which is, I'm like, oh, she went from like a rock horror movie to a rock horror TV episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she's sort of, the guy thinks she's gonna sort of break up the band. But she's very, very, very like logical. Like they're here for her boyfriend, not for Mr. I got an attitude too. And then we have this this groupie named Vendetta, played by Sherry Rose, who she's sort of the instigator. She sort of instigates the guy, and basically what happens is sort of her fault. I mean,
yeah, pretty much.
I mean, the guy is sort of a high-strung jerk. I'm sure anybody could have convinced him to do what he does, but she's very like sadistic about it, and it's not like she like there's a point where he's saying you're gonna go kill Tia Carrere, like you gotta bash her brains in basically. So she's not like you can't go. She's like, oh, you can't blame her for this. No, you can blame her for this. I think
she's wicked in this. I mean, yeah, you can blame her.
She's an evil word I can't say because there are women in this chat. But yeah, so he ends up taking. She ends up. So Vendetta takes. Is it Nick, right? I think it's Nick. Nick to a tattoo artist because he wants a tattoo.
Oh no, Nick is the guitarist.
He's the. Oh wait a minute.
Is it Danny or what? What is his name?
I'm confused now. Wait a minute. Who's who?
I think the guy's name is Danny. That is the asshole in the band, the lead singer.
Okay. No, I think this now we're gonna argue over it. I thought Nick was the jerk. Maybe maybe not then. All right.
I was pretty sure Nick was the one that was marrying the Tia Carrere, or how you pronounce her name. Carrere. Yeah.
I thought that's what I said. I guess I didn't. Okay.
But Nick was the guitarist though, but Danny I think was the lead singer, and he's the asshole.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant Nick in Vendetta. Go off to the tattoo artist. Nick is the bad guy. Danny's the singer. He's the good guy. Oh wait a minute. Now I forget who. Maybe wait a minute. Okay.
I was pretty sure Nick was the good guy or the pretty decent guy.
They all alike in this episode.
Oh man, now I'm getting confused.
I'm now confused. I confused myself. Well, now we're just ruining the stream now. We're doing pretty good until that.
Well, I could be wrong, TJ. So. I've been wrong before. I could be wrong. Yeah. Okay, so the arrogant lead singer is Danny Darwin.
Okay, see, I got confused. Who was the lead singer and who was the? See, that's okay.
And
Yeah.
Nick Bosch is the guitarist. He's the one that got married.
Okay. See, I haven't seen the episode for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's my fault.
No, it's not your fault, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. Because if we had done it when we were supposed to, it
Well,
would have been easier.
you didn't watch any episodes, so it didn't really matter at that point. It's your stream. If you can't be there for it, then it makes no sense. Sorry. All right. Anyway, so yeah. Okay. So they go get a tattoo because Heavy D is a tattoo artist, and he's able to bring out what's inside of you to the tattoo. Of course, Vendetta has a snake because she's a slithering snake, which makes a lot of sense. So his tattoo is like a dragon, which comes to life, and it's a mixture of goofy puppetry, but it's also kind of cool looking too. So I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily supposed to be funny, but kind of the way it was like, it was a little funny. I mean, but this is a pretty serious episode with jealousy and murder and pushing to be murdered, and yeah. So anyway, the tattoo is of Scarlet, which he smacks Vendetta around a bunch of. He really beats the crap out of her. Because she's like, why'd you have him put this on me? And I hate her. And she's like, I didn't do it. She also kind of likes being punched around. She has the
it kind of turns her on.
Type of things. She was like, okay, well, so much for giving her the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, and like I said, she convinces her to. She convinces him to kill Scarlet because she's breaking up the band. Even though I'm thinking he's doing a pretty good job of himself of screwing things up, but yeah. So he kills her, and it's very violent. It's a thing where like the band's on stage while he's backstage. No, that he's at her apartment. Bashing her head in, and does he drown her or just bash her head in?
I think he like bashes her head in and strangles her, and then kind of throws her in the bathtub, and she just kind of slides down a little bit.
Yeah. So, but then the tattoo changes, or he sees it changing. No one else really sees it. So it's sort of one of those episodes where it's like, is it actually something supernatural, or is it all in his mind?
Yeah.
Because of his jealousy and hatred and all that stuff. So as the audience too, you're like, well, our it's a Tales from the Crypt episode, but it could go either way if it's actually something that's really spooky, or it's But there's earlier when he looks at her tattoo to kind of go, oh, why would I want to go to this guy? So she shows him her tattoo, and it sort of comes to life, and she sort of reacts like it actually happened, but we could still take that to be maybe that she was just reacting because of he pulled back and just was like, not that she thought he saw something happen. So I kind of like that aspect of the story where it's like, oh, is it supernatural, or is it actually just this guy's off his rocker? Because he gets the tattoo removed, but he can still see the shadow of Scarlet's face on it. So near the end, he's backstage, kind of freaking out, and his bandmate comes back there and like, what the hell's going on? And Vendetta goes, he killed Scarlet! He killed Scarlet! He killed Scarlet! And she's like all screaming, and like this guy's holding her. She's like, you killed Scarlet! I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, she's a cross between being just mental crazy and like sort of liking it, like that. Like she's kind of reveling in the fact that, you know, because she's there bleeding because he just beat the crap out of her. So it's not funny, but anyway. So he comes into the room, and then he had cut off the piece of the tattoo that sort of has her face on it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do it, man. I had to do it. He's just standing there, dripping with blood from his chest and dripping with the face, and you know. But like I said, we don't know if there's actually something on there, or we're just seeing it because it's through his sort of his mind of what's going on. So yeah, it's a bloody episode, a violent episode. It's a good episode.
Mm-hmm.
It's got everything you want. Tia Carrera, she's not singing in this though. Actually, what's funny? So when she did Wayne's World, I thought she had a pretty good voice, and she's like a rocker. She does rock, like real like regular
Yeah.
rock. But the first album she put out was like a poppy, like soft like music, and I bought it, and I was like, this is not Wayne's World, and I was like,
No.
it wasn't my, especially at the time, I was more into rock music back in the 80s and early 90s, you know.
Kind of disappointing for you, wasn't it, TJ?
It was. Like I remember her, like they released the soundtrack to the first movie, and she did 2 songs on there. And then I think it's the sequel, she did the Jimi Hendrix Fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it was never released, and I was like, that's actually a good version of the song.
Yeah.
That song. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll be on the album, and no, it was like this sort of love music crap, whatever.
Yeah, and you were like, I don't want this. I want the rocking version.
Pop music, like whatever. Anyway, yeah.
But I like the episode too. I think Freakin did a really good job with directing it. And like I said, it really did have his stamp on it because, I mean, there are several violent episodes of Tales from the Crypt, but I'm saying that this had that freaking, I don't give a shit. I'm going to film this the way I want. I can't think of any, and we may get to some that are. I can't think of any other Tales from the Crypt episode that had a sex scene quite like that one between Danny and what was her name in the episode? The blonde.
Career or
the blonde that was with
Diana?
Danny. Yeah. Between him and her, like that was like I think the first time I watched that episode, I was like, holy crap. You know, it's not like I didn't know that there were sex scenes in some of these episodes. It's just like I just wasn't expecting it to be quite like that. But then when you think about who directed it, it all makes sense. Because freaking pulls no punches. If you've seen any of his other movies, you know that he doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's going to film something the way he wants to film it. And probably if they had told him, hey, you can't do that, even on Tales from the Crypt, he probably would have walked. He probably would have said, then I'm not going to do it. So, but a really good episode, an interesting episode. But I'm really curious to see what the difference is between this episode and the actual comic were.
It's less bloody. There's no nudity.
Yeah, no nudity, no sex.
It's still sort of like it's a love triangle, but it's a little bit more subtle than Friedkin's version. Oh, by the way, the episode also had Steve Jones from the Sex Pistols. By the way.
Oh yeah.
He's the big, bulky dude in the episode. Yeah, so this is a very rock, except for Heavy D, who's a rapper.
Yeah.
There's a pretty like rock heavy episode. I don't know, a little. Nah, it wasn't anything like cruising. I was gonna say nah, just because it's a rock band doesn't mean it's cruising. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So the episode, first of all, it's a Vault of Horror. No, Haunt of Fear. I'm sorry. It was a Haunt of Fear, but it was hosted by the Vault Keeper, which even though sort of, it was like Tales was the Crypt Keeper, Haunted Fear was the Old Witch, and the
Yeah.
Vault Keeper was Vault of Horror. But they still did the three of them were sort of still in each episode, so it's kind of weird. Just saying out loud that the Vault Keeper hosted this episode. It's just like in the Haunted Fair. But see, women, they just can't get anything for themselves. They get screwed over by the man. Yeah. Anyway, um, let's see differences. Oh, there's a funny one of the lines that the Crypt Keeper calls it a gore edge band. Gore.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, those are so dad jokes. Those all those jokes are dad jokes. But
Yeah, unfortunately, but yeah.
I mean, yeah. So it wasn't a rock band. Like I said, it was more of a just like a straight um, 50s love triangle thing, like
Hmm.
except with murder. Um,
Did it have the tattoos thing and all that
yeah,
stuff in it?
tattoo. So I don't know if he's a sailor or whatever, but this woman was married to this guy and he had tattoos. Um, it's a love triangle, but they start off like as friends, but then she has an affair with the other guy who doesn't have the tattoos. Um, so they come up with a plan to kill their friend, um, and he's the one with the tattoo. And it does have the whole thing where it starts off with a tattoo of the three of them as friends, and then she kills him, and then the tattoo changes to
Ah.
with a about to swing a bat or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it's more straightforward of a story. Um, yeah, that's kind of the biggest difference.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think that sounds interesting, though. I mean, I like freaking spin on it
mhm.
and modernizing it for the time, which was 1992. If they did it again, they'd probably have to modernize it again. There'd be some, it'd be some kind of music, today's music, and I don't know. I don't know if that would really turn out well, but anyway,
I mean, if they
uh,
did the show again, I would wish they would go back to the comic books and maybe do kind of the same thing where they take the source material and work it because it's literature to an extent. So I mean, I'm not big on remakes, but I think kind of taking a source material and making something different out of it, it's
mhm,
better than like what they did with the Psycho remake. And
yeah,
even I liked the Dawn of the Dead remake, but it wasn't much of a they didn't. It was more like let's make 28 Days Later, which I actually don't. Maybe that one came out before or after. I can't remember, but it seems like let's get the fast zombies and then sort of mix them in.
yeah.
It's like let's get Return of the Living Dead. That's better, and then mix it with Night of the Living Dead. I mean, mix it with Dawn of the Dead, so you have a little bit more craziness going on.
I
Well,
mean,
this one was
I
like, what
didn't
is
hate
sprinting
it.
zombies? Sprinting zombies. So it's like, okay, whatever. Anyway,
Sprinting Zombies doesn't do it for me really, but I didn't hate that remake, but it
one
still
of
at
the
the
better
same
remakes.
time I don't think it needed to be made. I mean, there George Romero's Dawn of the Dead, original Dawn of the Dead was fine. I don't think I think when Savini did Night of the Living Dead in 1990, I think that was okay because of how much older the source material was that he
Yeah.
was working from. But anyway, um,
Blissful Heavy D was a rapper. Heavy D and the Boys was his group.
I remember Heavy D
Yeah.
slightly, not,
I don't think I
but
have an album, but I know I've. We had that talk about rap. I know you don't like rap, but
well, I won't say I just like old school rap pretty much is what I
Fat
like.
Boys,
Yeah, that
Illustrated
kind of
Sun.
fun rap when it got dark and the gangster rap and all
Well,
that
that was a
stuff.
different offshoot of the rap.
Yeah,
You're probably like the more poppy stuff, like
yeah.
MCA,
Unfortunately,
the Addams Family theme.
So I'm going to read through some of these comments real quick. Uh,
Please, your show.
so, so Super Batman Nerds, it's your show too. You're a special guest on here.
Well, all right. Well, it's but okay. 95.5.
But Super Batman Nerd says he's been calling Uncle Bill out because of his absence on the initiation stream, and he says he's going to bust Uncle Bill's balls tonight. Well, don't bust them too much, Super Batman Nerd, because I found out that the reason for Uncle Bill's absence was not because he was watching, uh, uh, what you call it, the whatever the wrestling was,
WWE
Survivor Series or
Survivor Series.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the after Thanksgiving event. I watched it.
But he wasn't doing that. He was having a nice dinner with his mother. So that's why I say don't bust his balls too much about that.
Remember, people have lives outside of being on the stream. Like
Yeah.
jobs and
Yeah, and I was yanking his chain whenever I was talking on the stream. That look, Uncle Bill wanted me to do this, and then he ain't even on here. So we do that with each other. Him and CK do that to me, and I do that kind of stuff to them. But so don't be too hard on him. But I'm thinking about waiting a while and doing the initiation again, and maybe Uncle Bill would be in a better position to be able to be on it since he seems to like the movie. Blissful says, I'm classified as a groupie. The term includes girlfriends and wives. Ugh. Well, that's not fair. I don't think that's fair. She says lead singers are kind of high strung.
You
And
think?
she says never get a girlfriend or boyfriend's name or face tattooed on you. You'll have to put sucks underneath it.
Hey, my dad had my mother's name on his arm, so come on.
Now that they were one of those lucky few that didn't have a bad ending to the relationship but some people evidently go too quickly into a relationship and that's what happens. But I digress with that. But anyways, Chris C says, evening everybody, slash the like. Thank you, Chris. Blissful says she's not a rat fan, so she may not want to look up Heavy D. Blissful also says she's the queen of bad relationships. I don't think you're the queen of them. I think sometimes people just have bad luck. Sometimes, Blissful.
Sometimes the other people suck, so
yeah,
can't do anything about it.
So if we move on to the fourth episode, which I like this one. This is the Seance episode, with Kathy Moriarty, Ben Cross, and John Vernon is in this.
Yeah.
And John Vernon, instead of just playing a complete dick, he plays sort of a lecherous sort of character, And I don't know, like, there's the whole thing that's supposed to be between him and this woman that he thinks is his cousin. And I'm like, I could understand cousin on down the line or something like that. But the way they were talking, this would have made them first cousins. And he was going to have sex with his first cousin. I just thought that was just.
Well, he didn't really believe that she was his cousin. Because well, we can talk about the episode. By the way, this was written by Harry Anderson.
It was written by Harry Anderson.
Another guy that's dead. And
Unfortunately.
Steve wrote like almost 100 of these Tales from the Crypt episodes. So, which is interesting. I didn't know Harry Anderson wrote stuff before. I know he was like a comedian, like a stand-up. So I know he'd probably done some writing, but
yeah,
and this isn't a funny episode either.
No, this is a pretty dark episode. It doesn't really have light parts in it. It's pretty dark all the way through.
And it's got that like 1930s kind of look to it.
Yeah,
costumes and it's like film noir. We have the music with the like she's sitting there, and you get the sexy music because she's sexy.
Yeah.
And they got the
Okay.
lighting where her eyes are like right, like
Yeah.
the Morticia Adams lighting where she has to walk into the light, so it's like you see her eyes.
Yeah.
So it's very that. So it's very stylistically a really visually great episode. Um,
But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to TJ to start talking about seance. And as usual, I got to run to the restroom while he starts talking about this.
okay, have fun. Uh, so I lost my track. So we start off with this. So we start off with this couple, and it's played by Kathy Moriarty. Kathy Moriarty, and Ben Cross. Kathy has been in a lot of crap. Not crap. I mean, I think she was nominated for an Oscar, and she was in Raging Bull, and she did comedies like Soap Dish and But I'm a Cheerleader, which is a weird ass movie. Um, and she's in I think it's a Casper. No, is it Casper where she dies and comes back as a ghost? I think she's in that. No, I'm like, is she in Casper? Now I gotta look this up. No, I'm not stalling to get Dana back. I'm just like, is she in that? Wait a minute. Okay, she was in the video sequel to Casper. Okay, I remember that now. That was not a good movie. Don't watch the sequel, direct-to-video Casper movie. Don't watch that. Ben Cross, he was in the remake of Dark Shadows, and he was in I think it was in he played Spock's brother in one of the later Star Trek movies, and was he in I think he was in one of those old shows, like one of those old TV movies. Was it War and Remembrance? No, was he in that? I can't remember now. No, I guess not. Was he in War and Remembrance? Was Ben Cross in War and Remembrance? I can't say words now.
Oh, heck, I
Oh, I
don't.
guess he was it. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, I'm being unprofessional. I'm eating some chips.
it's okay. Yeah, so Kathy and Ben are these con artists. They basically bilk rich people out of their money. Then they do fake seances and that kind of stuff. So they're trying to get some money out of John Vernon here. Plays Mr. Chalmers. Ben Cross is like pretending to be a lawyer. She's pretending to be his cousin. Like I said, there's some sexual tension going on between Ben and between them all actually, because Ben's also like that they're not just partners, they're partners. And they kill John Vernon. She's more malicious about it. Ben Cross is sort of doesn't want to do it, and he sort of tries to stop it, but John ends up falling into an elevator shaft. But he's still alive. But the elevator car is starting to come down. Too late. Ben Cross tries to play with the buttons. Nope. John Vernon's squished. They're still trying to get some money out of this situation. Vernon's wife comes into the picture, and she's blind, and she's wants to know what to do with this money that she has that they're trying to get, and she's like, "Well, I have to talk to my psychic." So she goes to her psychic to see what she could contact her husband, so her husband can tell her what to do with the money. Moriarty and Cross intercept her. They kidnap the actual medium, played by the woman who killed Selena. If anybody remembers the Selena movie, Lupe, was it Lupe? I don't know how to pronounce her name. Lupe Ontiveros. She played Yolanda Saldivar, who killed Selena, the bitch. Anyway, who's still alive? The actress who played her has passed away, but the actual person who killed Selena is still alive. Which, like, if you, God's trying to be funny there. Anyway, so Kathy Moriarty is going to pretend to be her, Madam, whatever her name is. So she pretends to do her voice. When they tie her up and they hide her in the back. So they're doing the seance. Ben Cross is going to do all the stuff behind the scenes to make, to fake it. He's going to fake it so they can make it.
Right.
Thank you for laughing at that. Anyway, they do the seance. They hear him, blah blah blah, but he's not actually. Obviously, it's not Ben Cross. We find Ben Cross has been murdered by John Vernon's ghost, but John Vernon's ghost also kills Kathy Moriarty in a very bloody, surprising way, which you don't expect this to happen. He reaches into her chest, pulls out her beating heart, while she's still kind of like in shock, staring at it.
Which is a pretty cool effect, I think.
It is. And then this is the one thing. His face should be more deformed if he was smashed by an elevator. He just has a little blood on his face.
Yeah.
It's like, it would have been cool for one of those really gooey, abstract-looking EC comic corpse zombie ghost things. I think which would look a lot cooler.
Maybe he had his brains coming out a little bit on the side.
But it's like, maybe John Vernon's like, I'm John Vernon. I don't get makeup put on.
Yeah, you're not gonna do this to me.
Like, I don't know him personally, but he seems like not a fun person to hang around with.
Oh, but I like this episode too. Not as much as I like some of the others, but I think the screenplay by Harry Anderson was definitely well done, and for it to be written by Harry Anderson, as me and TJ said, the episode is not funny. It's pretty much dark all the way through. And but I like the idea, the seance idea, and it kind of reminded me of a more gruesome The Trouble with Mary Jane episode, where you had Phyllis Diller and Lawrence Tierney, and they were pretty much faking it too. They tried to pull the wool over people's eyes and get paid for doing, exorcisms and reading tea leaves and doing all this kind of stuff.
That was definitely not Mary Jane's feet.
Yeah, right.
Well, they do that in the sequel to, was it Ouija, right? Isn't it Ouija 2?
Oh, yeah.
It's got the one who played the mortician sister in the Haunting of Hill House. I forget her name. She was in a bunch of stuff. Where she's doing all the tea leaves and the seances and all the fake stuff, but her daughter actually has the ability. That's a movie where it's better than the original. Kind of a cheap, like Ringu, One Missed Call type of American ripoff,
Right.
but it's their original idea, which is not that original.
Right.
I mean, the idea is sort of okay, but the movie itself wasn't great. I don't know if you saw the first two Ouija movies. Have there been any
I
more?
don't actually remember. I mean, I know the movie when you mention it, But I don't think I ever sat down and watched either one of those really. Um, but yeah, like the episode, it had some very good elements in it. But again, I'm curious to see how the comic played out in comparison to the episode.
We still this one. There is no Kathy Moriarty. It's two men who are running the scam. They're trying to get money off of this Mr. Chalmers. It's sort of the same kind of setup. But this one's a little different. In this one, they actually pay up. They bribe the. They bribe. Also, she's not. All right. So we have the same thing with the wife who wants to know what to do with the money. She's not blind in this one. So in the comic version, they just basically pay off the psychic woman to lie and say that he's telling her to give them the money. These two con artist dudes, and but it's also different that she also has a change of heart, so she decides she's actually gonna tell the wife that no, they paid her to do this and she's sorry and that kind of thing. But other than that, it's not the elevator accident, and this is basically they force him off the road and to have a car accident, so they still kill him, but it's more deliberate. Whereas in the episode, it's even though it's a darker kind of situation, it's more of like they let it happen instead of actually causing it to happen.
Right.
I mean, she wants to push him into the elevator, but it's kind of more of an accident than a deliberate. We know exactly what we're doing. We're gonna kill him and blah blah blah.
Right.
And also in the comic, it's you see the other guy. You see the ghost actually physically there, and you see the ghost actually kill somebody. But it's less, there's no gut. There's more like a strangulation kind of thing.
No pulling of the heart out and
there's nothing bloody, at all. But this was a Vault of Horror 25. It's funny. There's also another episode. There's another comic, EC comic named Seance, and it's like, couldn't you think of a different name? I mean,
yeah, there goes that not being creative with the.
Or it's like a TV show where you forget about a character, or you write off a character, and it's like.
Or the soap operas, they'll kill off a character and bring the same actor or actress back as another person, and
yeah.
At
least the story wasn't the same, but but I don't think they didn't do that one. They only did this seance because I was like, oh, I actually have the actual comic book. But I was like, oh, wrong seance, not the right one.
But so that brings us to the Beauty Rest episode, which again, all of these pretty much have very recognizable names or big names, even at the time that these came out. So in Beauty Rest, we've got Mimi Rogers, Jennifer Rubin, Kathy Ireland, and Buck Henry all in this. This screenplay was also done by Mr. Donald Longtooth. So we've got another one with a screenplay by him. And it's also directed by Stephen Hopkins as well. And I remembered this one when I started watching it again. Several of these, I start remembering the story. Some of them I don't remember at all. Like the Seance episode, I didn't remember watching at all. But On a Dead Man's Chest, I did. I think some of None But the Lonely Heart. And this Beauty Rest one, I knew what the twist was. I'm not going to give it away right now. But I knew what the twist was before it got to it. But I'll go ahead and let TJ start talking about Beauty Rest.
It also has Radu from Subspecies is also in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The weird photographer, director, weird. Yeah. He's very distinctive. Even without the makeup, you could tell who the guy is. So yes, So I'm seeing a shiny object and getting distracted. Because I'm like, Robert Trebor. What do I remember him from?
Hmm.
Anyway. I remember him from Hercules, but I don't remember him like specifically. Anyway, so yes. So we have Beauty Rest, Vault of Horror, 35. So Mimi Rogers is this actress, model type. She can't cut a break. Every time she tries to go for a part, she just can't. She's about to get it, but she just can't get herself to, get over that hump to actually, get the part she wants. But her roommate Joyce, played by Kathy Ireland, seems to have all the luck. In fact, there's some kind of contest going on where the winner gets some kind of I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't think of the word now. Anyway, she's trying some kind of job, some spokesperson. She's trying to get a spokesperson job for this company. And all she had to do was just like, this guy is just going to give it to her. He's going to gives her this note, and she just has to give it to this guy at the pageant that she has to go to, and he's going to make her win. And Mimi Rogers plays Helen. She's just like, how do you do this? It's like, people just give you things, and she just starts kind of breaking down. She starts eating a whole tub of ice cream, and like, that's mine. She's like, I don't care. And she's just like, she's like, I don't know why you do this. She's like, okay. Kathy Ireland's like, I really like this guy. I'm not trying to. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. So Mimi Rogers decides, all right, I'm gonna give her some sleeping medicine to knock her out. Take her invitation. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get this thing that she got. Well, she ends up giving her too much. Kills Kathy Ireland's character. And she's sort of like one of those eyes wide open and dead. And
She's
like,
not rich. She does a better job of playing an alive person than she does a dead person.
her acting's not great in this episode.
It's not great. But when she's dead, it's even worse.
It's supposed to be sort of a comedy, because it is sort of a comedy. It's a comedic episode. Mimi Rogers' character is very like over the top. So I'm like, why are they roommates? They seem like at least 10 years old. Kathy, Rogers is like at least 10 years older than Kathy Ireland. Because this is like young Kathy Ireland. This is like L.A. Alien from L.A. Terrible movie. Oh, what was it? Killer Tomatoes Part 2. She's in that movie. So she didn't mean to kill her, but she fakes that it's a suicide. Even though she's the happiest person ever, she's like, I was depressed, so I ended it all. It's like, depressed? Have you seen this girl? Anybody who knows her would not call her depressed, but whatever.
No.
So she goes over to this the pageant. She thinks she's just sort of going to get handed it, but she actually has to like take part in the pageant. She meets Jennifer Rubin from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 fame. Boy, either I don't have enough sleep or I just don't have a memory anymore. Bad Dreams. She's in Bad Dreams.
Bad Dream.
She's in the terrible Roger Corman remake of Wasp Woman. When
I don't think I ever watched that one.
Yeah, Roger Corman did like a whole bunch of remakes of his like 70s and 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s movies. Like he did the Piranha remake where he used actual footage from the original Piranha movie. He kills off Punky Brewster, which is sad. That's actually a good remake. It's almost a shot-for-shot remake, but the actors in it really bring something better. Not better, but bring something, and it's less, I don't think it's as campy as the original. Anyway, so she goes to this pageant. Buck Henry's sort of the MC. Because I think he's George, and the letter says, go to George and he'll set you up or whatever. And he's like, no, you still have to take part in the pageant. So get into the swimsuit and the question and answer period, and everybody's sort of giving the bad answers, and Mimi Rogers, Helen gives like a really good answer, and they're like, "Whoa, you're great." And, um, she Jennifer Rubin is her direct competition. She kills Jennifer Rubin because she's just killing every woman that is against her for roles. Um, they were gonna pick Jennifer Rubin, but they're like, because Jennifer Rubin's like, uh,
Yeah, I know what's going on
yeah,
here.
she leaves and comes back, and she goes, I'm gonna be the winner now because I just blackmailed the people involved with this pageant, and Helen, Mimi Rogers, I forget, did she strangle her or something like that? I don't know. She
I
kills her.
think so, yeah.
She kills the crap out of her, and and sort of like hides her in like very like a Jason would hide like his victims or whatever type of situation.
Doesn't she hide her like with a bunch of like looks like mannequins or mannequin
Floor
heads?
things are up, so she's with like this group of mannequins. Yeah, so it's very tourist trappy type of. Uh,
And kind of like Argento in a way, the way Argento would hide things in his movies, and then you would see it at the end. And it's like, oh, how did I miss that?
mm-hmm. Very true. Um, yeah, so Mimi Rogers, they're like, okay, you're the winner, and we find out that the uh, the pageant is for Miss Autopsy. That's the twist. So
Yep.
it really didn't matter. She could have killed Jennifer Rubin, and they could have still used her body and said, "Here, use Jennifer Rubin's body," and
Yeah.
she wouldn't have got killed. But she had to sort of play it bad, and actually, she probably, if things had worked out, her roommate would have died anyways.
Yeah.
But she would have been off the hook because she would never have gone. So yeah, it's very. And I like how they sort of have Mimi Rogers like at the end when it's the big reveal. She's sort of like standing there and like she's dead, but you
Uh-huh.
sort of get the curtain pulled away and you see her like body has been cut open
Mhm.
and sort of pulled back and displayed so you can see her guts and her organs and her. But it's very like it's gory, but it's not like Fulci with the blood and guts hanging. It's like very like
Right.
it looks very like they dressed it up to make it look nice, like it look nice. You know what I'm saying? But it's like a sculpture more than.
Well, that's kind of like Argento too, because even though Argento was very, bloody and gruesome with a lot of his stuff, there was some kind of artistic quality to his set pieces in his movies. I always thought that, and so this was kind of like Argento to me as well.
Yeah, like Suspiria. The whole first murder is very.
Hmm.
It's very cinematic, very dramatic, and very. Um, you know, she's banging. Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. With her terribly dubbed voice. Uh, like she's trying to mouth the words in English, but she probably was speaking German or whatever she was speaking. Um,
Right.
and then like how they go from the camera goes from the body sort of dangling there into the feet, and then over to the friend
Mhm.
who's just like with the thing sticking in her face, and there's yeah. I'm surprised no one's ever like taken those shots specifically and put them in their movies.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so it's a sad. Though it's kind of fun. There's some comedy in it, but it's very kind of like, oh, she's just trying to get a job. I mean, come on.
Yeah, poor Mimi Rogers. But this was another one that I liked, and I could, a lot of these, I could see myself going back and rewatching them. I mean, I'm not going to go right back and rewatch them, but it was fun after not seeing a lot of these for years. And then,
Oof.
like I say, this gives me the opportunity, doing these streams with TJ, is I get to have an excuse, as if I need an excuse to go back and watch some horror television, but sometimes I think we get in our heads that we need an excuse to go back and watch some of this stuff. So this kind of pushes me, because you got to watch them if you're going to talk about them on these streams, unless you want to, sound like you're talking out of your butt. So, um, it
I don't know. I started off a few of these like I don't know what I'm talking about.
no, I thought you did good with all of them.
I'm very
Um,
critical. Thank you, though. I look
but
for people to tell me I'm good at something.
but I'll turn it back over to TJ because this is another one that I'm curious about the differences between the comic and the actual televised episode.
It's pretty similar.
Oh.
The roommate and killing her. It's sort of set up the same way. Wait a minute. I had some visual aids and I can't find them. Let me see. Nope, that's not the one. Let's see. Beauty rest. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this one's pretty close to the. I think the biggest difference is the ending. It's sort of more alluded to what's going to happen to the character. We don't actually see the whole displaying of the guts kind of thing.
Right.
And I don't think she's missed something else. It's it's Miss Corpse of 1954.
That would
I
fit
think more of
more.
a clever. I think that's a little bit more Miss because that sounds like something. That sounds like a pageant from the 50s. You know, Miss Corpse of 1954. So she wins the names are kind of the same too. She's still Helen, but this one it's alluded that they basically said Miss Corpse has to be a corpse, and then somebody has a knife, and that's sort of the last
Mhm.
panel. So I mean, this was pretty close to the original.
Um, Stuff-O-Matic's in here, by the way. He says, "Hey, y'all, better late than never." That's exactly right, Stuff-O-Matic. And unless the internet implodes on itself, you can always go back and watch this on the replay. Um, Super Batman Nerd says, "Okay, Dana, I won't bust his balls too much." Yeah, please don't, because I mean, yeah, having dinner with your mother, spending time with your family is a very important thing, and we all need to do that. Um, so I don't get upset with anybody that misses a stream because they're spending time with their family.
I am so white. I really need to.
I don't think you look that
I'm
way.
pale. I'm almost translucent. Come on.
TJ's gonna make me have a coughing fit here. Um, Stuff-O-Matic also says TJ is going old school with the Trapper
Look at
Keeper
the difference between this
alias.
keeper and my complexion. There's not much of a difference.
Yes, you, TJ.
I wish I could fix the lighting to give me more shadow, but anyway. Yes,
Um,
the Trapper Keeper alias. Yes.
I like it though. I think that's cool. Um, so moving on to the sixth episode, we got one more episode after this one to talk about. But this was one of my favorites, and I remember watching this one way back when. I probably watched this one during the original run of Tales from the Crypt.
Mm,
And that's the What's Cooking episode. And again, we've got Christopher Reeve, we got Bess Armstrong,
yeah.
Meatloaf, and Mr. Judd Nelson in this, who I love his character of Gaston. Is it Gaston? Is that his
Um,
character, TJ?
yeah, Gaston.
Gaston.
I think is it pronounced like the Disney character or
Oh, maybe.
is it Gaston? I think it's Gaston, right?
Okay. That sounds better than how I was pronouncing it.
Meatloaf
Uh,
plays Chumley, which is like okay, that's a good name, I guess.
yeah. But sadly, this was before Christopher Reeve had his unfortunate accident.
Stay away from horses.
Yeah. And I love horses too, but that had to be a nightmare. But before I choke to death,
Don't
I'm going to let TJ uh, go ahead and start talking about what's cooking, and I'm going to get a refresher on my drink so I don't choke to death.
By the way, my favorite horse joke is I love horses, especially when I have a broken plate. Okay, I thought that was funny. Anyway, yes. What's cooking? Um, Originally, Haunt the Fair 12. We have Christopher Reeve and Bess Armstrong are a husband and wife. They have a restaurant, but they only sell squid because I guess they needed a theme and they picked squid. Well, guess what? Nobody's buying their product. No one's coming to this restaurant for their squid meal. Um, though they do have one cop who's sort of trying to help them out, so he comes every day, um, basically. Um, but their company isn't doing good. Mr. Chumley, their landlord, is gonna evict them from their place, and then they meet Judd Nelson, character who decides he's going to help them out by he's sort of like a bum on the street, and they sort of feed him basically or whatever, and he decides he's going to help them out by changing their menu. Um, well, Meatloaf literally becomes meatloaf for this restaurant. John Nelson hangs up his dead body, his dead carcass in the freezer that Christopher Reeve finds. So the new meat that they've been serving to their guests, that also Bess Armstrong's starting to eat herself, is actually Meatloaf's dead body, where they chop off pieces of his meat, I guess, and serve it to their. But Judd Nelson isn't just happy with them becoming successful. He's going to blackmail their asses because that's what you usually do. And even though he's basically being the killer, he's the killer for everything. He's going to, if they don't do what he wants, he's going to turn them in to Phil the cop. Well, of course, this is a Tales from the Crypt, and the bad guy always gets caught. And Judd Nelson gets caught. I mean, it's not much of a reveal. There's no real reveal per se.
No, except that the cop who loves the meat they've been serving knows what they've been doing, and
he becomes their partner, their real
basically
partner.
Yeah.
But it's a funny episode. It's not just. I don't think it's that dramatic, really. I think it's more of a funny
Not really, no.
I like it. I don't.
I like it really well. It's probably one of my favorite episodes.
It's well written. Yeah, everybody really gets to really have a good part in it. Meatloaf's the jerk, and it's like, yeah, you want him to get killed, so yeah, whatever. Meatloaf's fine. Meatloaf get
Yeah, and you can actually maybe see that there's Meatloaf's corpse there.
That's right.
And Judd Nelson is like getting ready to chop some of Meatloaf off of there, and
he chops, and this like really perfect piece of meat comes out of him. Like,
yeah, I know. It's like, and they serve them up as steaks, and they turn it into a steakhouse.
Yeah.
But I figure there's only so much steak you could get off even a human body.
I mean, he's big, but he's not,
But anyway, I'm not trying to tear apart the episode or anything like that. I'm just saying I enjoyed the episode. This one actually, if you have the set for this season, even you get commentary by Alan Katz, Digby Deal, and the Crypt Keeper. Actually, John Cassier actually talks as the Crypt Keeper on that commentary. So I haven't really seen too many, if at all, commentaries that they did on the episode. But the What's Cooking episode, I think that would have been a good one to do a commentary over. I need to go back and listen to that commentary actually.
Yeah.
But this is yet another one where I'm kind of curious about the difference between the episode and the actual original comic.
So this one, it's not. Everything's usually two guys. It's usually what it is in the EC comics. So that's one of the differences. It's not a husband and wife. Um, it's two guys. They own this business. It's not doing great. This homeless guy comes in. Um, and he's basically, I can help you, become successful if you listen to me. So that's one of the big differences. Let's see. The ending's a big difference too, and the ending is instead of Judd Nelson gets cooked at the end, and they make him dinner. And this one, it's sort of that way, but instead it's the two owners of the restaurant who get killed. One of them gets can't remember. One of them gets like boiled in oil or something like that, and the other one, I forget how he gets killed, but yeah, it's basically they kill the guy who's helping them out, and they try to get away with it, and then his corpse comes back to life. So we don't have there's more there's like there's a more of a zombie comes back from the dead story that I guess they wanted to do a whole new thing with the idea for the episode. I mean, I'm always up for a good zombie comes back from the grave to kill somebody, but I guess they didn't want to just make it all those episodes. But I don't think there really were. I mean, there's a lot of zombie revenge in the EC comics, but I don't know. I don't think the TV series had as many. There's like the thing from the grave. There's the lonely heart, the lonely one. Yeah, I say there's never. There could always be more zombies.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to sprinkle a few more zombies in the.
But they set the guy's house on fire, and that's how he becomes a zombie. And he comes out of the ashes of the fire, all like burnt and everything like that. And he goes to the restaurant and he kills them. So it's more of a straightforward. There's not that whole back and forth as much as the episode was, but you add you do it. It's visual and there's moving, so you need more like dramatic stuff happening. So I understand that.
Right.
But I think both stories have work in their medium that they're done in. But yeah, I mean, this idea. I mean, it's sort of like when did Blood Diner come out? I mean, Blood Feast too, but I mean, Blood Diner
was Blood Diner 87 or was it that late?
Maybe it was around there. I think this is closer to Blood Diner just because it's though Blood Diner is basically a remake of Blood Feast. It's closer to this, and I think people are more influenced by stuff they see closer to their time period than further away. Even though you could say that's what inspired it to begin with. People don't look. Sometimes they don't look that far ahead. Like I watch those reaction channels, and people are like early 20s, something like that, and they're like, "I never heard of Psycho." I'm like, "Really? How did you never hear of Psycho? Did you just discover movies existed? How do you not? I don't know."
Yeah, where have you been? Have you been under a rock for years and years? It's like, nah. Were you born yesterday? What's Yeah, I don't get it. Sometimes I think some of these 20 somethings that say stuff like that, they think it's cool to not to pretend like they don't know what something is. I think they really do know. But anyway,
But anyway, good episode. Yes, another good one.
yeah, definitely a worthy episode of the series. which brings us to the last episode of the night, and this is the one that I really liked this one, and I thought this had a really creepy element in it, and I also thought that this had an Argento element to it. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait to talk about that. I bet TJ knows what I'm gonna
I
bring
know
up.
the movie you're thinking of. I definitely know. I mean, I don't want to say it, especially if I could be wrong, but I definitely.
But we'll talk about it when we get to that actual part in this.
Also,
But
it reminds me of um, one of your favorites. Just by the way somebody looks. Um, what is the? Why can't I remember the movie?
I'm trying to think what movie you could be talking about. It's one of my favorites, you say, right?
It's from the '80s, early '80s. It's in the vein of Maniac. Um,
Not Don't Go in the House.
that's the one. Yes.
Oh, okay.
One of the things in the episode reminded me of the corpses in that episode.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Um,
almost Freddy Krueger, though that seems to be a rumor now. People said David Warner was gonna be Freddy Krueger because they saw him make
yeah.
the test, but a lot of people are saying that was really not because he was gonna be in the movie. Like, no, like you think something's true, and then someone says, "Well, it might not be," and it's like, "Well, damn it, give us somebody answer the damn."
Yeah, we've been thinking this for years, and
They're
uh,
both dead though. Wes Craven and I think David Warner dead too. I mean, neither one of
I
them can
believe
talk.
he is. Yeah. But David Warner is in this episode. The new arrival, Zelda Rubinstein is in this.
She has a little role.
Robert Patrick is in it. I think Zelda Rubinstein is in this more than Robert Patrick is. But Robert Patrick is in it. And
Twiggy.
Twiggy is in this, and I did not know Twiggy's last name was the same as my mom's maiden name, Lawson.
Lawson, really?
Yeah, that's my mom's maiden name. Um, but anyway, this was directed by Peter Medic. Um, and I'm going to let TJ go ahead and start talking about this. And then when we get to the one part, I'm going to interject a
Yes.
little bit of why I think this is kind of similar, got similar elements to at least one Argento film.
So we have the new arrival, Haunted Fear number 25. David Warner's a radio show host. Psychology. He's like a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
People ask him for his advice, and he gets a call from Zelda Rubinstein calls him, and she's having trouble with her child.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
We
like,
just think it's just an unruly child that she
yeah.
can't control.
So he's gonna teach her about discipline. So he goes with his like his part of his staff from the radio station.
Well, he's going to lose his job to Robert Patrick. Robert Patrick is an asshole. He's going to take David Warner's slot on the radio, and um, their boss is basically going to fire David Warner. So he goes to this Zelda Rubinstein's house and goes with his boss and his assistant. I think Twiggy's his assistant, right?
Yes.
Okay. But I'll shut up now and let TJ continue.
Yeah, Robert Patrick's sort of like he's the new guy that's coming in to take over. He looks like a rock star, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird for Robert Patrick to be playing that part for some reason.
But he does like a really weird performance, which I like kind of because it's different than Terminator or whatnot.
Yeah.
Definitely different than Terminator. So they go to the house to see what's going on. There's a weird thing where was it somebody falls and this weird kind of like she faint. I can't remember what she does. Not
No, I'm
Twiggy.
trying to
No,
remember.
I think it's Joan Severance. I think that's who it was.
Oh yeah.
His his other
She
whatever.
must have been the boss, the kind of bitchy
Okay, yeah,
boss character.
because she's sort of running around the house and she's kind of gets into trouble.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's and Zelda's like, okay, let's see if you can help me out here. Um, and they're sort of looking for the uh, the unruly daughter. Um, and they kind of go looking for her. And the house looks normal, but as they get kind of further up the stairs and looking through the house, things just start looking decayed and kind of
Yeah.
falling
And
apart.
there's evidently Zelda Rubinstein gives the daughter gum all the time because she thinks it'll make her behave.
Yeah,
And they go up to the floor where her daughter's room is, and there's gum all over the walls and the floor up
yeah,
there.
and it looks gross as hell.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like mushrooms, kind of like growing out of the.
At first, I thought, is this like slime or something? And then I thought, oh, this is that gum she
Yeah,
stuck all over everything.
it reminds me of an old like '60s like Japanese horror movie, Attack
Hmm.
of the Mushroom People. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's a weird. They should do an American remake of that. That would be cool. Is they get trapped, they get stuck on this island, and there's this sort of weird fungus that grows, and if they eat it, they sort of get taken over by the fungus, and they turn into it, and these
Kind
giant.
of like Invasion of the Body
It
Snatchers
is
a
kind
little
of like
bit.
that, yes. Um, so yeah, they go up and they go up. The boss gets trapped in I guess the daughter's room. Um, it's like the attic, and it's very bright, but it's got stuff draped, like there's sheets draped on furniture and stuff like that, and um, it's got this weird. It's got this. The whole movie sort of has a Toby Hooper feel a little bit, like,
Yeah, a little bit.
but not just because Zelda Rubinstein is it. It's sort of like the Poltergeist version of a Toby Hooper movie, which is Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, it looks like somebody, they wanted to make a little bit like it's not dirty, but it's very like I get a little Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe here and there with the episode. Um, but then we get to yeah the the boss gets trapped in the attic. Um, Meanwhile, Twiggy and she gets attacked by little girl. Um, but then Twiggy and David Warner go into the room where there's a tape machine that's playing this the crying or whatever.
Hmm.
I think it's where they think it's the daughter, but it ends up not being. She ends up not being there, um, and Zelda Rubinstein kind of like with so the girl's sort of like the little daughter's sort of like well she's just dead. She's a zombie basically is what the little girl.
Yeah.
And she has sort of this. She's dressed like a with the
She has a little girl dress on, and
kind of dress, and she's got like a plain mask on that's just white, and she's got like a bow in her hair, and it's very
and the mask on the little girl, the dead little girl,
yeah.
reminded me of Phenomenon. Near the end of it with the
With the little
kid running around, and
son, yeah.
yeah, that's what it reminded me of. There was the Dario Argento part
It
of it.
looks like a geisha look.
Yeah,
It's
like
just a
that.
face, and it's got black lipstick, and it's just that's it. There's like no, there's
Hmm.
no real like distinction with it. Um, yeah, we find out it's her little girl who's been dead. Um, they first think it's Zelda Rubinstein pretending to be
Right.
the daughter because they're the same height and build basically. Um, yeah, and Twiggy and the boss they end up getting killed and
The
Danny.
way Twiggy gets killed in this, though, I was like, I had forgotten about that. And I was like, man, that came out of nowhere. That was sort of vicious. The way she gets killed.
Sorry, Twiggy.
Yeah. Yeah, if you were wanting to see more of Twiggy, it was gonna be what was it? Was it the ceiling fan that came down on her, or what was it?
Yeah,
TJ. Okay.
because they set the shot up where you see it's just her and you can see the
Yeah.
ceiling fan spinning around her head. You're
But
like,
it hits her, and it like she just flies backwards, and I'm like, holy cow!
yeah, yeah, it's definitely a fake body they threw down the stairs.
Right.
And he gets splashed with blood, and he's like on the stairs, like sort of like, I think she's beheaded too because the
I
fan goes
think
through her
so.
head.
Yeah.
You don't see it clearly, but you see sort of the head's detached, and you see the hair sort of messed up.
Mhm.
And then Zelda Rubinstein has him I say sort of, he's tied to a chair, but
Yeah.
she's like, "Would you like some tea?" and and she shows him. Introduce him to the daughter, and yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, it also reminded me of Deep Red.
Yeah.
There's some corpses that remind me of Deep Red. There's like the other twist is she's not the first doctor that's come to the place.
Yeah.
She's killed other people. So you see this corpse it's got like cobwebs all over it, but it's got like glasses and a pipe, sort of like
So that lets you know that it was another doctor or psychologist or whatever that David Warner's character knew.
But I think it's the way the corpse looks. I think it's supposed to be like Freud.
Well, didn't he call him that doctor from Dr. Sapper or Zing or whatever? I don't know. I can't remember what his name was.
Sigmund Freud, just kind of the look. But anyway.
Yeah, it did kind of look like Sigmund Freud, but it near the when he first gets to the house, he sees that she's got all these books by these different child psychologists, and she says that this one guy didn't know anything, and he's like, "Oh, he's a great man." And then I think at the end, the one with the pipe in his mouth still was supposed to be that psychologist, but it did look like Freud as well. So.
But the corpses look good. The makeup on the dead little girl looks.
The dead little girl is creepy as hell. She's creepy with the mask on and running around, but then she's even creepier when the mask comes off and you see what she really is.
It reminded me of the mother corpse from Don't Go in the House. That's what it reminded me.
Yes.
The way it was designed, it was like it had to. I mean, a corpse, a skeleton looks like a skeleton. It's just like it looks so much like that, but like I always think I'm like those idiots on the internet are like the tie he was wearing means it was a reference to blah. Yeah, whatever. Shut up. Anyway.
But really, really good episode, and I think it didn't end this season because we've got 7 more episodes to talk about next week. But it was a good way to end the first half of these episodes. I think a very, very strong. And again, I have yet to find any weak episodes in these.
Yeah.
Some of them might be a little more goofy than others, but knock on wood. Me and TJ don't seem to be suffering from the weariness that we suffered from when we did Friday the 13th, the series. I got really, and I didn't think I would say that about that series, but I must have been remembering all the old episodes of it or something, when I came up with the idea to do this. I forgot about that horrible third season. But anyway.
5-minute episodes, I think they kind of drag when talking about them. Because I think we talked about too much of everything in an episode instead of kind of like we're doing it better with these. Like we've
Well, these are shorter too. Yeah, those were like 40 something minutes a
yeah,
piece.
those are hard to get through. Some of, especially like you said, the last season was
And
hard to
it
get.
was a chore to watch when it got to the third season. It's like, oh God, these are like 45 minutes long. Jeez Louise, come on. Um, but anyway, I'm going to turn it back over to TJ to talk about the comparison between the televised episode and the comic.
One big thing about the comic is it's sort of told by the house, the perspective of the house. So the house is a character, sort of telling the story of what happened inside of it, which I think though that's a pretty creative. Especially this is definitely a. I don't know if it would work in the live medium. That's
Hmm.
probably why they didn't bring that part over. But I think as far as a written visual kind of thing, I mean, it definitely would work as a just a story itself without visual pictures. But I think
Right.
the pictures punctuate a lot of stuff that's going on. It's more like that movie, The Baby.
Oh, that is a bizarre movie, by the way.
Yeah, they might have watched. They might have read this episode of Tales from the Haunt of Fear, where there's basically this old lady is basically. I'm just going to skip to the end of the old lady has been. Um, she, I forget if she's kidnapped or whatever. She kidnaps people and sort of treats them like babies and like takes
Oh,
care of them
okay.
like babies and doesn't let them get around and stuff like that. And when the this guy goes to the house, the person she's been taken care of like a baby dies, and he takes over that guy's place. So it's more like that kind of it
Oh, I
keep
see.
happening every time someone she'll take care of the person and then until they die and then that kind of thing.
So the people she kidnaps, though, do they regress mentally? Do they go back to being a child, or
It starts with the house talking about the crying of the baby and that. So you don't really see, it's the reveal at the end. You don't
uh,
really know anything about it until like right the last page of the
okay.
story. So yeah, but I think the best part is the pet it's done by the perspective of the house. So it's about this guy who comes to the house because of the legend or whatever, and there's the old lady, and then there's what the crying is, and he finds the guy in the attic, sort of like
Okay.
oh, it's the visual is I don't know how to describe it. It's just kind of it's a weird visual.
It would be interesting to go back and read that one, I think. And
You'd have to find the comic books. I don't think
yeah,
you'd have to like I don't think they've reprinted them anytime soon. So you'd have to find like a copy that someone
yeah.
already had. Like I was looking up comics,
And
like
that
oh,
might be
right for the
difficult to
screen, and
do.
I was like, oh, I'm not spending that much money on one comic book. Forget that.
Nope.
Nope.
um, so TJ, is there anything you want to else you want to bring up about any of the episodes, including this one, or?
No, I'll be interested to see if how the next seven hold up.
Yeah, I keep waiting for there to be a bad one. I
Yeah, I
keep
mean,
waiting, and it hadn't, got there yet. Um, and if y'all are curious, how for those of you that maybe haven't seen the episode in a while or haven't watched it, maybe you can see that there. There's Zelda Rubinstein down there at the bottom with the dead
yeah,
child, or the, I don't know. She looks dead, but she's still running around. I don't know if you would say that's a zombie or what you would call her, but
Guns N' Roses would call that "Dead Child of Mine."
And Blissful, I agree with you. Twiggy is amazing. I love Twiggy and everything she's in. I was just kind of sad to see her demise that way in this. It seemed to. I don't know. For me, it seemed to come out of nowhere, but maybe it didn't for everybody. But um, so me and TJ have uh, finished the first half of the fourth season of Tales from the Crypt. How many seasons were there again? Were there seven?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. And I actually have all the seasons in these little separate sets. Um,
And those
they're
4K remasters on YouTube are really good.
Oh my gosh, yes, I will say I don't know what the guy did to him, but he must have some heavy duty equipment or something. I can't make anything from the 90s look that good. Um, and I just figured it was because I'm not a movie studio or something. I don't have that kind of equipment. Um, Blissful says Slash would like you, TJ. No kidding.
Who? Oh,
Slash.
oh,
um,
I do want to give a shout out. So some of the comic um, uh, comparisons I've gotten from this YouTube page called Crypt Keeping.
oh, okay.
He does a really good job of comparing the two the comic to the episodes. So not that that's all I watch, but I've looked up the comics and I've
Mm.
read them. I tried to read them. Sometimes they're hard to find because not everything is online. Shocker. Uh, but yeah, he's pretty good. Like he updates a lot. Though I don't know what he's gonna do when he runs out of episodes of Tales from the Crypt.
I don't know. Maybe he'll find some other comic that
But
had been, maybe they made a handful of episodes or something from some
yeah,
comic.
I just want to give him credit because he's very
But
helpful.
yeah,
I saw
very
I was like,
important.
oh, I love this guy. He's cool. And they're very short. They're like under 10 minutes mostly.
Uh-huh.
And he also gives his opinion of certain episodes.
Now, is that a YouTube channel or is that a website?
It's a
Oh,
YouTube
okay.
channel.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds really interesting. The guy probably put a lot of work into that, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, he'd have to get all the comics unless he already had them to begin with. He would have had to really like spend some money to get them. I mean, I wish I had gotten all the reprints when they had done them years ago. Back in I think it was like late '90s, something like that. They started reprinting them all. Um, I have a few, but I just don't know where they
I
are. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
I have a few reprints, like not just Tales from the Crypt, but I think I have somewhere I've got like a vault of horror maybe, and um yeah, I wish I had kept collecting them actually, and for whatever reason I
yeah.
caught a few of them on the, where the magazines and stuff were at the grocery stores and stuff like that at the time, and I would just pick them up when I saw them. But
This is one of my favorite covers. I love this one.
oh yeah, that's cool.
But
But if you got guys and gals out there have original or reprint
send them to
copies of that,
Dana PO Box.
no, I'm not gonna ask anybody to send them to me. But you might want to hold on to them and keep them in the best shape that you can, because
Oh, if you have an original, especially
the
those are the
originals would come into a lot of money, I would imagine. Um, but So I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow night. Well, let me ask TJ, have you got anything in the works, TJ, that you want to talk about before I blab about what I'm going to do?
no, not really. Oh, I do. I want to do a quick rant about. I'm sick of people who want Stu to come back in the next Scream movie. So sick of it. Okay, he was part three was supposed to be about Stu and the cult. It didn't happen. By now, I don't care. I don't. If for those people who want Stu to come back, I want Stu to come back in the next Scream, but I want him to be the opening kill, just so it'll shut everybody up.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
want a good like Michael Myers at the end of Halloween Ends, where he gets like a eviscerated, cut in half, 20 pieces. I want him dead. So no more of this. Because let's say they bring him back. Do they want him to keep coming back like fucking Jason in every
Yeah,
other
I
movie?
mean, okay. I liked the character of Stu in the first Scream movie, but yeah, but he was dead as far as I am concerned at the end of that movie. He was dead. And he's
If
not.
Matthew Lillard really wants to be in the movie, fine, but make him the opening kill. So just to get it out of the
There you
way,
go. Make him like the Drew Barrymore like thing, and
yeah,
just
yeah, that'll make everybody. People won't like it, but it'll get it out of there. We won't have to worry about it anymore. It's just like
and it'll get it out of everybody's system, I
they're
guess.
not going to redo the. People want that movie that they never made. They're not going to do that now. I'm
Mm-mm.
sorry, and I don't want to get into the whole thing about what they're doing with Scream, but at this point, put it to bed. Bring it back in a few years if you're gonna really want to. I mean, don't. I mean, there's mixed results with doing it with the Halloween and like going back to the first
Yeah.
one. It's like just do something
I
different.
I honestly think it's time to put the Scream series out of its misery now. You
After
know.
Wes Craven passed away, that should have been the end of it.
Yeah, I
Maybe
agree.
more for like a nostalgia thing. Even like I think Nevin Campbell had said one point, without Wes, it's not the same thing anymore. And it's like,
Exactly. And two, it wouldn't have killed my soul if Scream was just a one-off. It revived the horror genre at that point in time. Let's call it good, but no, they can't because they see dollar signs and they got to keep on and on and on. They can't let something just be great in and of itself. They just got to keep churning them out and making money.
money. It's about the Benjamins.
Yes, it is. Uh,
But yeah, that
and
was just my rant about Stu. I'm like, okay, just to give Matthew Lillard a job and to shut people up. Okay, let's do one. Somebody should do a fan film. Get Matthew Lillard. Get
there you
him.
go. Be creative.
Just have him. This is the opening to
No, but people are lazy. They want somebody to do it for them,
Yeah.
and
If I ever win the lottery, I will make a opening kill. Stu gets killed. I will give Matthew
are you
Lillard.
gonna hire Matthew Lillard? And
That's
I'd
the only
love
thing
to see
that's
that.
Stu. I wouldn't want to have some random guy. The fans are gonna be
You
like,
don't
"No,
want to have generic
Matthew
stew.
Lillard."
You want to have real stew. Um,
Have like a David Warner in The Omen. That should happen to Stu. So he.
there you go. That would be fantastic. There, you have a fantastic death.
Anyway, that's my rant. You may take over now.
Okay. Well, that was good, TJ. And Blissful says TJ Savage. Love it.
Oh,
So
things
he
that
makes
annoy me. Believe me, I there's these YouTubers and they do these older women and they it's called I've Had It and they talk about stuff they've had it with. Love them because they talk about just how stupid people are and just like stuff they're sick of. And I was like, I'm very inspired to just tell people what I feel about it. I don't do it on TikTok because I don't want to lose my 133 followers.
well, evidently you would think sometimes I wasn't concerned with losing all 670 of my
Oh, that's
subscribers
great.
because
That's so many. That's a lot.
eh, there's people that have more, but I'm happy with my 670.
I
You
gain one and then I lose one, so it's always like 130 something.
Well, I sometimes I don't know if it's a YouTube thing or people really are leaving and somebody comes back takes their place because sometimes I'll drop down by one or two, and
Those are
when
probably
you get
bots.
and then it'll come back or three will come back or whatever. But you notice those when your numbers are lower when people's numbers get into the thousands. I don't think they notice anymore whether like if you've got 5,000 subscribers, you think you're going to notice if one or two are missing. I highly doubt it.
Listen, I'm not gonna rant about this, but I hate TikTokers who just like put clips, minute clips of TV shows, and they have 500,000 followers or whatever,
Yeah,
or whatever. And I'm like, how do you have so many followers? It's just somebody who's too lazy to find an episode of a TV show and watch the whole thing. You're gonna watch it, and then people get mad. They're like, oh, that was the first 3 minutes. I want to see the next one. Like, find the episode and watch the whole thing. You know,
Yeah, just watch it. And
TikTok for crying out loud.
people are so crazy. I don't know. Um, but anyway,
Dina, what's you have for news?
tomorrow night, barring anything happening, will be another review show for Seductive Poison the Resurgence. I'm gonna have Darren back on because these were his picks. Again, he's the only person that's joined my channel and gets these little perks, and I will review a couple of things a month for him. So we're going to be talking about And Soon the Darkness, the film from 1970. And I'm going to also be talking about an episode of the UK television series Thriller. I'm going to be talking about the episode I'm the Girl He Wants to Kill. Yeah. But and then on Friday, if I don't die from whatever this is, me and Jay will be on Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern time for another midday with Dana and Jay. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, so don't even ask. Me and Jay usually will just spontaneously come up with something. Either he'll come up with a theme, say, "Hey, what do you think?" Or I'll come up with one and ask him what he thinks. And we never argue with each other about what the theme's going to be. Nobody ever says, "Well, gee, I don't want to do that," or whatever. You know, we just go with it, and then we might end up talking about a dozen other things on that episode. And people seem to like that. They like that kind of loose, free form um, type of show. Maybe that's something that people are looking for. Maybe they like something a little less structured. Because I keep getting nice comments all around, and Jay's got nice comments. And I've also got nice comments about me and TJ too, that we have good chemistry together on here. So
Tell them thank you.
everybody that said nice things, thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of them are probably in here now. I know Blissful she talks about how she thinks me and you have chemistry, and she also talks about me and Jay have chemistry. But I think that the chemistry, I'm not saying either one is a bad or a weaker chemistry. It's just me and TJ have a different sort of chemistry than me and Jay. Me and Jay will get on there and talk about stuff that I wouldn't dream of talking about with TJ on there. And it's not anything against TJ. It's just, I don't know. There's just a different dynamic there. And plus, I don't want to embarrass TJ, and I don't think I could embarrass Jay. Some of the stuff we talk about, um,
Well,
I'm afraid, I'm afraid that TJ's face would turn the color of his shirt that he's got on. So and TJ probably knows what I'm talking about. He's been in on the. I love that shirt, by the way. Where'd you get that one?
I think it was Fast Custom Shirts.
I want.
I think, yeah. I got a brown one too because it's more like the book. But I was like, oh, red looks really cool. But
Does that one say read or anything on it?
no, it's just the face.
It's
just the face of the book.
I thought I had one, but it wasn't red. I don't know why, but that just looks so cool. Maybe I need to check with Joe and see. Hey, Joe, you got any more of those? And I'll buy one from you if you do. And I want to get it in red. Because for some reason, that just pops like that.
Yeah. It really looks. It's like the whole
It just
face.
really looks cool. Yeah. But Blissful says just easygoing and fun. Yeah, I think that's what both shows are like. The streams I do with TJ, the streams I do with Jay, I think they're both easygoing and fun. It's not, if it was stressful, I wouldn't do them. I wouldn't keep doing these damn things if it was
Like,
stressful.
bye. You would have been gone.
But I did want to remind everybody about this weekend's watch along. So Saturday, and speaking of Psycho, we talked about Psycho earlier. The original Psycho is going to be on the menu for the watch along on Saturday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Sunday will be a tearjerker. Just warning you ahead of time. It's going to be Mask with Eric Stoltz and Cher. So bring your tissues with you for that one. And I ain't kidding about this. If you've never seen Mask, I just want you to be prepared about it. Have you seen Mask, TJ?
With Cher and Eric Stoltz. Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. So TJ knows what I'm talking about. It's a tearjerker, right?
Story. It's a really happy story. Rocky Dennis.
Rocky Dennis. And if you don't know, if Rocky Dennis is not familiar to you, and this is based on a true story, and I saw an interview, and it might still be on YouTube, with Rocky Dennis's real mother, and it was really, really interesting. Wasn't real good quality, but this was
Yeah.
a long time ago when they interviewed Rusty Dennis. Um, but if you want to check that out, you could put in Rusty Dennis on YouTube, and it probably would come up, or either that or Rocky Dennis, one of the two, and it would come up. Um, and then I'll just go ahead and tell you that then we'll be moving in. We'll be starting to move into the Christmas season watch along. So December 9th, that one's not really a Christmas one, but we'll be doing Silver Bullet. And December 10th will be It's a Wonderful Life. I think Jay's going to be on there with me for that one. And Jay says you got to watch the black and white version. You can't watch that colorized version of It's a Wonderful Life. You got to watch the black and white. So what Jay says goes, right? Um, but anyway, I guess it's time because my voice is getting ready to go. Partly because I've been ill and partly because I talk too damn much. Um, so I want to thank TJ for being on here with me for yet another Tales from the Crypt episode discussion.
I'll come up with another rant for next week.
Yeah, that we need to start
Some
having
things annoy me,
TJ's
believe me.
rant.
There'll be a lot of things in the world that annoy me. Don't worry, I'll bring it up.
I could make an intro for TJ's rants, and we can have those every week. Blissful says, great live, Dana and TJ. Thank you, Blissful. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Everybody be sure to give us a thumbs up for these. And a lot of people have been watching these, I think, on the replay, because I think one of these has like 300 and something views on it. So we must be doing something right, TJ.
That's cool.
Blissful votes for TJ rants. So I want to thank everybody for being in the chat tonight as well. We've had a pretty active chat tonight. And so on that note, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here, let TJ skedaddle on out of here. I'm going to take me some nighttime cold and flu medicine.
Yeah.
Sit down and relax, or take my shower, take a really hot shower. I take such hot showers, I steam up the bathroom. It drives Steve crazy. But I'm like, if you're going to take a shower, take a damn shower. I don't want none of this lukewarm shower stuff. But anyways, that would be my rant for if I was doing a rant uh, about showers. There's only one reason you need to take cold showers, and we all know what that is, right? So, anyways, moving right along, I'm going to get out of here. So, good night, TJ, and thanks
Good night,
again.
Dana, everybody. Bye.
Good night, everybody.